I'm so excited that the sun is coming out. It was so hard to film last week, so let's get it. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite blind chick back on your screen with another one. You're tuned into another This Week in the World, where I talk with you about what happened last week in the world. We're going to start off with a little bit of pop culture, move on to some world news, a little tech talk, and wrap up with what's going on in my hometown too. So if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and let's get into it. Okay, there is a lot to get into today. Not that much for pop culture. I only have 2 stories I want to share. Everything else was foolishness. Truth be told, some of what I'm going to talk about is foolishness, but the only things I want to hear your thoughts on today are Bill Gates and Melinda Gates getting divorced. I found this very interesting. As you know, we don't spill tea here as much as we steep it to get something out of it that is useful. And with regards to this topic, I think it just goes to show that all the money in the world can't buy you happiness, or if you're a conspiracy theorist, something is going on in the mix and they're just trying to save their assets. Who knows? But time will tell and things will unfold. And I honestly think when you're a billionaire, the world may never know what's really going on behind curtains. So I wish them both luck. 27 years is a long time to be married. I hear some of the stories that my friends who've been married for 5 or 10 years say, and I'm like, whew, you know what? You just got to take it day by day. That's all I can say. Every married friend has told me you want to get divorced every day. And I'm just like, well then. Claremont Twins already slid in the DMs. Like, just no. Moving on from that to some more social media type of things. Umar Johnson versus Kevin Samuels. Never did I ever think there would be a versus. The boys are fighting, in my Azealia Banks voice. 2021 has been very eventful and we're only in the second quarter. Like, what is going on? First of all, I thought Umar and Kevin were more similar than different, but sometimes it's the similarities that end up making people clash. According to Mr. Johnson, Mr. Samuels has been stealing his content. It's a tale as old as time, you know? A lot of people are going to come for Mr. Samuels since he's been blowing up. He's been viral since that Success Best type of thing. And as much as I've gotten into his content more just to see what the hype is about and realize, you know what, I had my disagreements for a reason, but I respect some aspects of what he's saying. You know, we can talk about that another day, or you can check out my podcast where I spoke about it a little bit. Kevin Samuels was saying that Umar Johnson needs to focus on the school that he still hasn't built. If you don't know, Umar Johnson is one of the heads of the woke community, so he's very big on Black empowerment, the family house unit, and he's currently, or has been forever, in the process of building a school, a Black-based school that's going to teach you Afrocentric things and just make you a well-rounded Black person in the community. It appears to be coming together because he showed in his social media stream, but at the same time, a lot of people are wondering why it's taking so long, where the money is going, you know, typical things. And then Umar is saying that Kevin is denigrating Black women for the benefit of his platform, which a lot of women have complaints about. A lot of men have complaints about too. And I can see both sides because a lot of times Kevin can be vicious with it. There's no way around it. And I think that's the viral part of it, the entertainment aspect of what he does, is that he's just very crash with it. If you know what's going on, if you've heard of the two, I'd love to hear your opinion on both, either or neither. If you don't care about them, I got a lot of other things to say. I'm sure you're going to have something to comment about. So from pop culture, a little bit of world news. We're only going to talk about 2 countries, both who are going through major protests right now. The first is Nigeria, who, for all intents and purposes, has been going through it for a while now. If you've been on social for any amount of time, you might have heard of SARS a year ago. And this year, there has been some more kidnappings. Recently, boys were kidnapped from school. And it's just a terrible state for a country to be in. Of course, no place is perfect in its entirety. So you can look at any country at any part of the planet and you'll see conflict. It's just really sad that it's coming to the point where people are being kidnapped for ransom. Whenever children are involved, it just touches my heart in a different type of way. With Colombia, they're protesting. As of posting this, it would have been the 10th day of protesting if they don't stop today. And it is just horrendous what's happening to them, as they were originally fighting for these taxes that were going to be placed on to kind of help with what's been going on thanks to the Rona. I would say that this is the worst time to increase taxes of any sort because people have been without work. They haven't been gainfully employed in some cases for over a year and a half now. I'm not an economist, I'm not a government official, but I'm just someone who hopes to be sensible. And I just think, yes, I get it. You want to bring the economy back up, but this is not the right time for that, especially with all the conflicts that have been going on in Colombia for years now. So even though they said they're not going to increase the taxes, people continue to protest because there's so many other things to protest over. So I just hope that they reach some sort of agreement that is beneficiary to the citizens. It just sucks to see when governments don't work for the people, but someone once told me, when do the governments ever work for the people? So that's never left my head since. Moving on from world news, a little lighter with tech talk, 2 stories about Twitter. The first being that Twitter Spaces is now live. I think it's been live for a little over a week. I only heard about it this past week though. Have you used it? Have you tried it? Do you like it? I haven't been able to find it yet, so I haven't been able to see what it's like. Is it similar to Clubhouse? Is it different? This is what I said a couple weeks ago. I can't wait to see what other app companies develop in a way to compete with Clubhouse and TikTok and whatever is new. I'm always intrigued to see what they're going to teeth to bring and keep people to their platform, because let's call a spade a spade. All these companies be stealing each other's ideas. Like Instagram would not be Instagram without the stories from Snapchat. Does anyone use Snapchat? I haven't used Snapchat in years. So it's one of those things where it's like, what's going to happen next? What's coming down the pipelines? And of course, I love to see the competition as far as content creators go. The more coins that are exchanged, which is going to lead to the second thing with Twitter, is always very intriguing. So the other story related to Twitter that's intriguing me is that they're partnered or they bought a company called Scroll. And essentially what Scroll does, it's like the ad blocker of advertisements between tweets, and I think they work on other apps as well. Pretty much you pay, whether it's a subscription or one-time payment for the year, and from there they're just gonna remove the ad so you can read more seamlessly. I like this idea because I think it's so annoying when you're reading text or you're going through something that there's always going to be the ad there. But it makes me wonder, is this better for the ads or better for the creators or better for the user? Of course, for the user, you can see the benefit is that they can seamlessly read, which, by the way, I'm so happy that Twitter finally enlarged their text so I can see a tweet. But then I wonder if this is going to help delay what I think is inevitable as far as these social media apps go. I think eventually they're going to start charging us as a user, realizing they're not making enough money from ads. And that's why they want people to pay to have the ads disappear. All of this is going to be really interesting to see what comes down the pipeline as a result of these new additions. The other thing in the tech is Facebook. When is Facebook not in these streets? So they actually agreed with the court, or the courts actually agreed with Facebook, which a lot of people were surprised, in standing by that Trump is indefinitely suspended. I'm on the fence about this, and I had a really good debate with one of my friends a couple months ago when January 6th went down. She said it was very good. It's about time because he was inciting violence. I agreed, but my only caveat to this is if you censor one, when does it stop? I'm not saying that what Trump said was right. I'm not saying inciting violence is right. But I'm also curious to see when they're going to draw the line, because I think this creates more of a gray area. If they can censor him in essence, who's to say they won't censor me or you? And as an example, as a content creator on this platform, there's been times when I create content that has absolutely nothing to do with anything that's of any type of controversial nature. And yet and still, I have gotten an email, a ping late at night, because I guess that's when the algorithm finds out my content's not appropriate, saying, this content is not able to play in Europe, or it's not safe for audiences of this age. If you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know everything on there. Everything on here is PG, literally. I'm baking cheesecake. I'm showing you my life legally blind. I'm giving you skills to survive with Stargardt disease. There is nothing on here that's really controversial. Even if these videos would count, which they haven't, knock on wood somewhere, because I haven't been demonetized for these as of yet. But even this is light work. Like, I haven't said anything radical. A lot of you agree with me. And I know agreeing doesn't mean that I'm right. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, there's people that have said a lot of things that are way left. that I'm just like, whoa, 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 how am I still seeing an ad before this video? Whereas there's been times where I've been demonetized, or they're not going to show this to viewers in certain parts of the planet. I'm just like, why? A very interesting time in the internet. And I understand that it's been a rodeo for so long. Like, people can come on here and create posts and state things that may not be true. And then you find out the algorithm is one that perpetuates what you already believe. There's sometimes I have to tell someone, can you Google this for me? Because my Google results will continue to show me what I've already researched, and that's not what I'm looking for. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Bringing it back to home, I have 3 quick stories to share with you. One, we're in the midst of dispensing the Coco Vax. Can't say the full word, so forgive me. And I am one of the last of my friends because I'm not in a hotspot. What they're doing here is they're dispensing it based on risk. So the first wave were people over 50, underlying conditions, those who work with the aging population or populations at risk, healthcare providers, that type of ish. Then they phased out to 18 and over in these hotspots areas. So you go on the site, you type in your postal code. 2 of my friends did that for me, and I'm not in the hotspot area. And a couple people have like, just use your old address. I don't want to do that, because the only reason why I'm even open to getting this vax is because I don't want to be a carrier to give it to somebody else. I think if I were to skip the line by going to my old neighborhood and doing it, inadvertently, I might be putting someone else at risk, not just because I'm traveling there, but also because if there's a limited number and they're dispensing it based on how much they have and what populations they want to dispense to, if I take away one from someone else who's probably more in need than me because they're not as healthy, they're at risk, whatever it may be, then that is counterproductive to the reason why I'm getting it at all. I don't know. I'm just weird about things like that. I don't believe in cutting lines or finding cheat codes in that way, but you can let me know if you feel the same. The second story, as it still relates to Vax, is that they're really considering a Vax Passport here. So I think 3 provinces, including mine, Ontario, are really on board. I'm going to be very interested to see what the certificate, whether it's going to be a legit passport so we can travel, is going to be like. Much like what I said about Twitter and censorship with Facebook, this is where things get very murky. I just don't know where to sit on the line, because on one hand, I understand that you need to have a legal way of proving that someone has taken the steps to ensure that they're not going to travel with the virus and infect another country or infect a community that's at risk. But then it makes me consider all the underlying reasons why someone may not get a vax. Religious reasons, underlying health problems, maybe the research they've done, they don't feel confident at this time. Like, we are spiritual beings in this vessel having a spiritual experience, or human experience, if you will. And I think, I don't want to get too esoteric with it because maybe you're not religious in any way, but I think there should be a freedom to choose what you put in this vessel while you're here. And demanding that someone gets this, I don't know. I wouldn't want to feel like I'm forced to get it, but I also understand how much at risk it puts other people if others don't get it. So I'm so torn on this. Only if you want to travel, or only if you want to go to a concert, or we're only going to enforce this when you go to a sporting event. But say it's not just for the basketball game. What if it's to go to the grocery store, the library, or to attend school? This is where things get really, really messy. And I don't know how to feel about it. Right now, there's this great debate of how they're going to market towards people in rural neighborhoods, seeing as they seem to be statistically the most unlikely to want to get the vax. And that's due to a couple factors, including the access to it. If you're in a rural neighborhood, you may think you're not at risk because there's not people that are visiting from outside to bring the Rona to you. Still trying to figure out which words I can use. On the other side of that, maybe you don't want to travel, make a day trip out of it to go and get your shot. So I just don't know. What I do know is, if time has taught me anything, we'll get to understand more as time passes. So that's what I'm going to wrap up this week in the world. I cannot wait to hear from you. We touched on a lot of topics that are very polarizing, so definitely leave your thoughts with me down below. Remember, you can criticize respectfully. I'm open to it, always willing to learn and grow. And until next time, stay blessed, stay safe, stay sane, love and later.